Welcome back to the Malaysian Money Matters show. It's the 8th of August, 2025. Today, we're doing another deep dive looking at some really compelling headlines from Malaysia and a bit beyond, too. We're unpacking the key developments shaping our economy, our daily lives, right now. Our mission really is just distilling that essential knowledge so you feel truly well informed.
Absolutely. And we've got some fascinating material today. It reveals, well, both challenges and some surprising resilience across different sectors. What's interesting is how seemingly separate bits of news actually connect to form a bigger picture.
Okay, right. So from that high-level view, let's zoom in a bit. Let's talk specific Malaysian corporate headlines grabbing attention, starting with a pretty significant investigation, actually. Steel products maker Mayu Global is being looked into by the MACC. It's part of this ongoing probe into alleged illegal smuggling of steel scrap. They're calling it op metal. We're talking an estimated RM 950 million in lost tax revenue here. Huge number. Now, Mayu Global stresses it's not involved in import or export, says it's fully cooperating, and this does follow a similar MACC raid on NationGate Holdings just last month.
This definitely broadens the government's crackdown on illicit trade, doesn't it? It really emphasizes that need for corporate transparency. It highlights the challenge, I think, of oversight within supply chains.
Yeah.
Even for companies claiming, their operations are strictly domestic, it's just maybe signaling a broader sweep across industries, perhaps.
It certainly feels like a heightened focus, yeah. But it's not all probes and challenges. There's a positive momentum, too, in Malaysia's corporate scene. Let's look at ITMAX system. They just secured their second Selangor intelligent parking contract. This one's for Shah Alam. And it came just a week after they won a similar job over in Subang Jaya. Their shares hit a record high on the news.
Right, those back-to-back wins are interesting. For parking solutions specifically, it highlights a trend, maybe. Cities seem to be prioritizing
These sort of visible, immediate tech improvements for citizens, maybe over those huge, complex, long-term smart city master plans, could be a blueprint, for other urban services.
Yeah, that reflected pretty robust performance in the upstream segment of palm oil. The cultivation, the crude oil production, and despite some challenges they might be seeing downstream in refining, it just demonstrated the continued economic importance of this sector for Malaysia, even as companies like SD Guthrie look into new areas. Sustainable energy plantations, for example.
We also saw a KAF digital bank start operations. That's Malaysia's second Islamic digital bank, signifies that growing fintech landscape. And
MMS Ventures, the semiconductor test equipment maker, expecting a return to profit this year, riding the recovery in smart wearables.
Those two together, they sort of underscore a dual dynamism.
driven mostly by manufacturing and electricity sectors.
That 3% jump, it's not just a number, is it? It really indicates Malaysia's manufacturing sector isn't just recovering, it's actively regaining its footing, maybe as a regional production hub. This rebound suggests a stronger foundation for, well, sustained domestic consumption and export growth than perhaps many anticipated.
And on the policy front, this next one is really significant. The Gig Workers Bill 2025. It's set to be tabled in Parliament on August 14th. The aim is to officially recognize and protect gig workers. Malaysia would actually be the 16th country globally to bring in legislation like this.
That's a critical move, absolutely, towards providing better social security, better legal frameworks for what's a rapidly growing part of the workforce. It's about balancing their needs with, the competitiveness of the gig economy itself. And being the 16th country, well, it makes you wonder what lessons can be learned from other nations, right? To make sure this bill really delivers for the workers here.
Right. Speaking of major national projects, the East Coast Rail Link, the ECRL, it's now 86.07% complete, firmly on track for its deadlines. Phase 1 should open by December 2026. And there's a new supplementary agreement signed, too, connecting the ECRL to Westports and Northport.
What really stands out there, I think, isn't just the massive scale of the infrastructure development itself. It's the project's pretty deep commitment to ESG principles, environmental social governance. It's setting a benchmark, really, for sustainable financing and transport. That RM 10.21 billion raised through green Islamic instruments is significant. Shows how these mega projects can actually drive green finance.
We also learned the government is considering raising the tobacco tax rate. That aligns with public health goals and also fiscal reform. And Malaysia expects to attract huge investments, about RM 637 billion in renewable energy and green tech by 2050, promising 310,000 new jobs too.
Yeah, those two moves together highlight a kind of dual focus, don't they? Public well-being through health initiatives on one hand and long-term economic growth driven by sustainable industries on the other. It signals a pretty significant shift in national priorities towards, well, a greener, healthier future.
Okay, let's move to the international stage now. A big headline: U.S. President Donald Trump's plan for a 100% tariff on imported semiconductors, though with exemptions for companies that manufacture or plan to manufacture in the U.S.
Yeah, this is fundamentally reshaping global supply chains, no question. Malaysia, obviously with its significant role in chip testing and packaging, is actively seeking clarification. Understandably. Meanwhile, you've got countries like South Korea, Taiwan, home to giants like Samsung, SK Hynix, TSMC. They seem positioned for exemptions because they already have big U.S. investments. It really signals a kind of survival of the biggest dynamic in global tech, doesn't it? Could leave mid-tier players like Malaysia needing to strategically adapt fast.
We also saw some pretty significant central bank action recently. The Bank of England, for instance, they cut interest rates to 4%, but it was after a really narrow 5-4 vote. Reveals divisions, right? Policymakers grappling with high inflation versus a potential economic slowdown.
Exactly. Those split votes at the Bank of England. And you're hearing similar things from U.S. Federal Reserve policymakers, too, expressing angst about a cooling labor market. It reveals a critical global inflection point, I think. Central banks are caught, between the rock of persistent inflation and the hard place of a slowing economy. What that means is we're likely entering a period of, well, exceptionally unpredictable monetary policy, where even minor data shifts could trigger pretty major market reactions.
That's right. And finally, China's export growth. It unexpectedly accelerated in July, up 7.2%, driven by strong demand from the EU, Southeast Asia, Australia, basically compensating for that continued decline in U.S. purchases.
Yeah, that indicates a really significant shift in global trade routes. It highlights China's ability really to just reroute its export machine despite all the ongoing trade tensions. Suggests maybe deeper structural changes happening in global commerce as nations actively seek out new economic partnerships.
So after all that, what does this all mean for you listening in?
Well, from those local corporate challenges and the big national infrastructure milestones right through to the intricate dance of global trade wars and central bank decisions, the interconnectedness of our financial world just seems clearer than ever, doesn't it?
It really does. And it leaves us with this thought. As these profound shifts, in global supply chains and economic policies, as they continue, how might they impact your own investments, maybe your career path, even just your daily life in the coming months? Definitely something for you to mull over until our next deep dive. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to the Malaysia Money Matters podcast.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you would like a deeper dive into all the investment opportunities from today's news, subscribe to my newsletter at moneymatters.substack.com. I will be sharing a deeper analysis of the key investment opportunities from today's news, including what makes these opportunities stand out and how they fit into the broader market trends. By subscribing to the Malaysia Money Matters newsletter, you will also get exclusive insights on my watch list and portfolio and fundamental reports on Malaysian listed companies.